同时不断累积，互相越来越不可抗拒，终于在一个闪电的瞬间，正电和负电又激烈地结合在一起，这就是雷。我们地球一切的生命，应该就是闪电创造的。
Is a 2001 Taiwanese film that's written and directed by Edward Yang. So Yi Yi is a $50 Patreon request from one of my best friends, Perry. For those who have followed the channel for quite a bit know who that is. So Yi Yi is a film that I've actually only been familiar with for about half a year now because I have buddies like Cynic and Perry that have been really trying to push this film on me. And I've heard nothing but praise about this film as well, just from everybody that I've talked to about it on forums, just reviews that I've read on IMDb and Letterboxd. This film is highly praised. Some people even go as far to call it a masterpiece. And Edward Yang is known to be one of the pioneers of what's known to be the Taiwanese New Wave. And I believe Edward Yang is the most popular name to come out of the New Wave. And again, I was completely unfamiliar with Edward Yang at all until maybe like half a year ago. Luckily, I have Kino Lord friends who kind of helped me out and get the ball rolling on certain things. And Yi Yi was actually the very last film Edward Yang made, until he unfortunately passed away at the age of 59. And 59 isn't that old. It's pretty tragic that he died at such an early age. Especially considering all the great films that he's brought us. I mean, I haven't seen them yet, but, there's nothing but praise for them. So I'm sure there's a lot of value in those films and just a lot of value in terms of his filmography and what he's brought to the world of cinema. And here's what I'll say about Yi Yi. This is one of the most subtle and simplistic human tales that I've personally ever seen. There was quite a bit about this film that I really admired on a filmmaking level, just in terms of how subdued this film is, because this is a film that really takes its sweet time. I mean, I almost feel like the entire film is just continuing to take its time, but it's obviously a film that's intentionally doing this in order to really build its characters and to really ensure that whenever you have these interactions with certain characters, and whenever you have these really touching pieces of dialogue, that you really feel like it's genuine and truly coming from the heart. Because the biggest compliment I can give this film is that it truly feels like real life. This is the biggest slice of life film that I've ever seen. This is the sliciest of the slice of life films that I've personally ever seen. Everything about this film feels incredibly honest and just true to reality. Nothing about this film feels like it's being overblown. Nothing about it feels like it's being dramatic just for the sake of, film drama. Everything feels like you're truly witnessing, this family's life and just the different kind of problems that these characters have to face. And it's truly that authenticity that this film captures, that I think really makes it shine, and I think is probably why a lot of people really love this film, because the presentation of this film is also incredibly subdued as well. When it comes to the cinematography and when it comes to the direction, a lot of that is, I don't want to say the word bland because I think it's unfair. It just has a very simple approach. The entire film is loaded with stationary shots. There's not much score in this film. There's a few moments of score, but it's a 3-hour film, and I think there's only 2 or 3 scenes with score, and it's the beginning, and I think a few other moments throughout the film. And even the score is really nothing to write home about. It's really traditional sounding, sounds really simplistic. So the really subdued aesthetic presentation and the simplistic direction to this film, it definitely contributes to how this film feels incredibly authentic and genuine. But I have to say at the same time, for me personally, it makes it to where chunks of this movie make it feel like a bit of a chore to get through. But even though there are a handful of times where I felt like it was difficult for me to truly enjoy, I really just couldn't help but admire and appreciate the overall approach to what Edward Yang was trying to capture in this film and what he was trying to embody. Because even though I found this film at times to be difficult to get through, it at least made it to where I could really appreciate those somewhat dramatic moments that happen in this film, because there's not that many scenes that feel like, that have this kind of, dramatic conflict that's like really presenting itself in the film. But when you get those moments, you really feel the impact of it. And it's interesting because, like, the first hour of this film, I was thinking to myself, there's not much happening here. And I was hoping that the film would build up to something that I felt was gratifying. And honestly, it does, because the middle of this film, like, I think directly in the middle of this film, you get these amazing moments. And I think the film just kind of, like, peaks at that moment. And I think after that point of the film, you don't really get anything that's quite that amazing until perhaps the very end of the film, where you get the youngest character, Yang Yang. He gives this, I guess, eulogy. And I thought that was a really touching moment. But the film, in my opinion, kind of just peaks at the very middle, because you get this really wonderful and kind of heartbreaking character interactions. And I'm talking specifically more about the father in this film, the father character. He has this interaction with this other character, this kind of past love life of his, and that interaction between them and just the resolution of that was quite incredible. Just what they open up with, the things they're able to get off their chest. It just, like, it feels really breathtaking, and feels also, it's like both satisfying and both tragic at the same time, but it felt worth the build up to it. And the middle of this film in general, I think, is where this film peaks, in my opinion, because you get these character interactions that with not only the father character, but with other characters that are either just beginning to build or are like this release of just so much tension. And you have these conflicts that cause certain things. And I also really love the themes in this film as well, that have a lot to do with people just, finding meaning in their life, and also, dwelling on past regrets. And the film also conveying that a lot of the time, the past has a funny way of always being reincorporated in your future and having certain consequences. And also how the past and some of the decisions that you make kind of define who you are, and also kind of pave a way for your future as well. And I love the way this film was able to handle and express all these thoughts and themes. But again, like, I think what really held me back from truly loving this film and really enjoying it more than I did was because of its presentation and because of its length. Because this is pretty much a 3-hour film. And I do get that the length is what a lot of people consider to be part of its brilliance and part of its charm. But for me, I felt like I would have definitely got more engaged in this film, and I definitely would be able to find it more enjoyable if it was just a bit more condensed. And I understand that it is trying to be that incredibly authentic slice of life film. But, slice of life films have always been kind of difficult for me to get into. That's why I was shocked when Minari kind of blew me away, because I heard it was slice of life, and it definitely is. But just the writing, the direction, the camera work, and just the overall like conflicts and the resolution in that film, I found it to be quite beautiful. The characters. But in this film, the characters are definitely there, and the themes are definitely there, and they're expressed incredibly well, especially through the child's character named Yang Yang, because his whole thing is that he's huge on people not being able to actually know the full truth of anything. He expresses multiple times in this film that, people can only really know a half-truth to anything, and that's kind of symbolically expressed in how he takes pictures of the back of people's heads, because it's something that people can't see unless they have some sort of help. So it's aspects like that I think the film does incredibly well. But at the same time, I feel like if the story was more condensed, and if there was just a little bit more personality behind the camera, then perhaps I would have enjoyed this film a lot more than I did. So I'm going to give Yi Yi a very strong 7 out of 10. I mean, I still obviously think that this is a pretty good film, and I still am highly anticipating A Brighter Summer Day, because that's another film that I hear absolutely glowing things about, and that one's like a bit over 4 hours long, so I'm a little hesitant, but at the same time, I've seen 4-hour films that are brilliant. Love Exposure is one of them. Jean Dielman is like almost 3.5 hours long, and it's weird because I felt like fully engaged in that film, and like more than half of it is just a French woman cleaning her apartment. But either way, that's all I got to say about Yi Yi. If you really enjoyed what I had to say about it, please give it a thumbs up and share it amongst your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to be updated on more film related content.